What's up, people? The Arsenal have beaten Manchester City 1-0 at the Emirates Stadium in Premier League action. It's our live instant reaction to this wonderful, absolutely phenomenal performance from the Arsenal. What a game this was. A very defensive, tactical battle between the two managers, a real chess match of grandmasters with cut and thrust, back and forth kind of action that was all played in between the boxes. Not a whole lot of goal mouth action, and that is due to the fact that both teams pressed incredibly well. Now, from the outside looking in, from the neutral's perspective, from a fan that's not necessarily a true footballing fan, it might have seemed a little boring. Even the announcers on NBC were a little underwhelmed. But if you look closer, the tactical way that both of these teams kind of fit each other, almost like a puzzle, was beautiful to watch. Fantastic to see. Yes, absolutely, Jelly Domino. We have blown the league wide open. Great win for the Arsenal. Love to see that. Thanks for being here. I definitely think that it was a deserved win. Mikel Arteta has had probably his best game of the season. I think that he got everything right. So when he put out that lineup in the beginning, I was worried. I was definitely worried. Didn't know how Jorginho was going to come in. Obviously, the only time we've seen him this season was a disaster. So him coming in today and being strong definitely was a boost. I thought that we got the tactics absolutely spot on to stifle their play. They were able to play through us a couple of times, but of course, it's Manchester City. Of course, they're going to play through us a couple of times. But we also stifled them into hitting it long. And I counted the way that they destroyed us at the Etihad was lumping it to Haaland, down for De Bruyne. They got that done twice, 2 times all day long. We were mopping up the second balls. We were winning headers against Haaland. Saliba and Gabriel did an absolute job on Erling Haaland today, and it was fantastic to see. Glad that they were able to kind of, you could see at the end he was frustrated. They were bullying him a little bit, kind of given as good as he was given as well. And it was fantastic to see that. I thought that at different times, both teams kind of controlled this game. It was a very even game. So in some moments, we would back off and they would have us kind of pinned in a little bit, but they never really got a lot of penetration. We were really able to block up the passing lanes. You could tell that even when Ruben Diaz would get on the ball a little bit in that spell they had about 55th minute to the 65th minute, they had a little spell of possession, and I was screaming at the TV for Eddie and Nketiah to step to Ruben Diaz, because Ruben Diaz was inching forward, just getting the ball and going a little bit into midfield, a little bit more and a little bit more, and we were pinned in just a little bit. But he made the changes, and that kind of changed the complexion a little bit. I thought that we were able to beat their press a little bit, not necessarily by playing through it, which we did a couple of times, but when it got deep, we figured out that David Raya could dump it to Jesus. Now, I was always shouting, second ball, win the second ball, but Jesus was bringing it down himself. He won the first and second ball himself, like a number of times. And that's the way we were attacking when we had possession and it wasn't really a transition. We kind of slowed it down. We didn't really attack the transitions. And in the preview for this game, I was really thinking that, oh man, I'm worried about that. I'm worried about the fact that what we saw last week in Wolves beaten City was fast-paced attacking when they have made mistakes and really getting after it in transition. Now, in my heart of hearts, I knew that Mikel Arteta was never going to do that. He was going to try to control this game, as much as I thought that that's a dangerous game to play against Man City. And I'm very, very excited and happy to see that we went toe-to-toe with them. We played the same way they play, with high press, suffocating the passing lanes and making sure that they didn't have an option. And so a couple of times you saw Ederson just hoof it right out of bounds. There was a spell the first 10 minutes of the second half, we pinned them in. They couldn't get out. We didn't allow them to work their press or to work through our press, I should say. And Ederson hit it out of bounds a couple times, hit it right to our defenders. I thought that Martin Odegaard was fantastic in the press today. I think that going forward, we didn't have a lot just because of the way City were defending. Same thing. Flip the coin. They were defending really, really well, getting in between in the passing lanes, stifling us, pushing us back. In the very, very beginning of the game, we looked super shaky, and City were pressing really, really high up the field, and they continued to do that. And I think Raya settled a little bit. It took us about 10 minutes to settle down in the very beginning. And I think that when he figured out that he could hoof it to Jesus as a backup, he, kind of went to that a bit more than he had been in the beginning. And I think we found some joy on the right-hand side. Gabriel Martinelli comes in at halftime. I thought he might have started. I didn't know how many minutes he had in the legs. Comes on at halftime and definitely gave us a different option to Trossard. I didn't think Trossard was bad. Had some good touches. He just doesn't have that pace to go at the defender. And I thought that Martinelli was able to gain us a lot of territory doing that. And it allowed for us to get out and not be suffocated, not be pinned in, which is so unbelievably important against this Man City side. Like I said, they had control of the ball where they were gradually gaining more and more territory. And we in moments did the same thing where we were gradually gaining more and more territory. And so as far as this game goes, tactically, it was absolutely spot on. Again, I thought the subs came a little late from Arteta, but it worked out. I thought that Kai Havertz has had his best 14 minutes or whatever it is in an Arsenal shirt. There was only one moment where I thought he was his usual self. He had 3 or 4 really good touches, and he got the assist for the goal. So definitely nothing bad to say about Kai Havertz, which is new. I'm very, very, very glad to say that. Thomas Partey coming back, glad to see that. He was able to do exactly what Jorginho was doing for us all game. I thought that Jorginho had a good game in there, definitely helped us with the press. You could see that he was coming high on Lewis a couple of times, or Rice, depending on who was in that position. It was interesting to see how they switched back and forth. It was kind of a quasi double pivot with Martin in front of him, but we know that Martin likes to stay in the right-hand channel, and so they were kind of switching back and forth depending on where Lewis and Silva were going. Now, I do want to speak on Mateo Kovacic. The first one's a clear red. I mean, what's different from that and Curtis Jones, in the Liverpool game versus Spurs? But, we got the rub of the green on the deflection. So I feel like, as far as balance, we were hard done by, but then, we got a little bit of luck on the goal. So, I am upset that Martin could have broke his ankle. Likewise, Rice could have broke his ankle. So both tackles, almost make 3 yellows, really. That's just completely inconsistent from the referees. But of course, I can't come on here and say that I expected anything different. But, I'm not too upset about it because it worked out in the end. We got the goal, got a little bit of luck on the deflection. Now, I think that this win is absolutely huge for the mentality. It's a huge boost for the confidence. Yes, we beat him in the FA Community Shield, but I never thought that meant anything. But we finally got one over on him in the league at home. What a massive, massive result. Massive result for the confidence, for the mentality. And I think that having that in our pockets. Being able to say we finally beat Man City is so big moving forward. We got the confidence now that we know we can beat anybody. We can stifle anyone. There's no one that we can't on our day completely press out of the game. If you can mark Holland out of the game like that, there's no one in the league we can't do that to. And so that's going to be a huge boost for us going forward. I think individually, I mean, I guess you definitely give the man of the match to Martinelli for the game winner. But also Declan Rice was huge. Saliba was huge. Gabriel was huge. You know, that's kind of the way it goes when Arsenal win. There's so many different performances that you can say, you know, deserve a man of the match. Gabby Jesus has to be spoken about more. Yes, the main narrative is that he's not exactly clinical, but today, the defensive work, the positional work, the press, the way that he was bringing down the ball and winning it off the Raya long passes cannot be understated how important that was. Because City stifle teams. City just pin you back, pin you back, pin you back. And the fact that Jesus won the battle out on that right side versus Gvardiol today, won all of the long balls, was knocking them down for Ben White and for Declan Rice and for Jorginho, and for Martin Odegaard, Martin Zod on the right. That cannot be understated how important that is. Because once we got the ball up the field, once we won the territory, we tried to control the game. We were able to do that. We were able to control the game in moments, in spells, just like they were. And at the beginning of the game, in my heart of hearts, I knew that that's what Arteta wanted. But I was very skeptical about if we'd be able to beat City at their game. And we finally gone out and done it. I'm over the moon. It was an absolutely wonderful game. Wonderful performance from the Arsenal, and we got the international break to celebrate it. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. This has been my instant match reaction. The Arsenal have beaten Man City. So go ahead and get the likes up on the video if you like the video. Of course, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. I know I'm going to, and you will see me next time.